Like not girls trying to fuck.
Like I said, they wouldn't be shit without some of these big places.
Welcome to this podcast.
Welcome. The Rondo Show is forevermore. Hope that everyone is doing well, living up to their full potential in life or on their way to it. Much love to everyone viewing this podcast on YouTube and Patreon. Much love to the SoundCloud listeners and people all over, because you're very important as well. Welcome to everyone new and old and new. Everything is appreciated. Miss E is here with me. I have a guest finally, once again. How did you feel, Ma, about that? You said you already told me a little bit how you felt about the T.I. episode. But I just wanted.
I ain't talking about T.I. today.
We ain't got to talk about T.I. I just wanted to, you know what I mean? I wanted to get some of that. It's a good connection to the.
No.
It's a smooth.
Keep it moving. It's a totally different subject.
But no, I'm saying it's called segue. It's just a segue. But okay. So today you wanted to talk about triggers. Let me see. I'll share the screen with you. I probably should make it this one. You see that, right?
I see it.
What does it mean to be triggered? The term.
You asking me?
No, I just was reading the title.
Okay.
What does it mean to be triggered? Okay. The term trigger refers to the experience of having an emotional reaction to a disturbing topic, such as violence or the mention of suicide, in the media or a social setting. However, there is a difference between being triggered and being uncomfortable. Ooh, wow. Feeling triggered isn't just about something rubbing you the wrong way. For someone with a history of trauma, being around anything that reminds them of a traumatic experience can make them feel like they are experiencing the trauma all over again. Some people cope with stressful events more easily than others. Consider the impact such events might have on people with mental health issues or mental illnesses. So, I don't know if I read that too fast, but from what that is saying, is that kind of your understanding?
Yeah, actually it was a lot more than what I understood. I guess I was focused more on the uncomfortability and thinking that was the definition of being triggered. But those are two different things from the definition for what that sounds like. I think I'm going to actually Google that because I like to have that information.
That's a good kind of topic a little bit as well, because there are issues with mental health becoming so popular of a topic or a thing, because I feel like people use it wrong. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the idea of if you find out that somebody takes medication and then when they get upset or they are frustrated and you like, did you take your medication? It's like,
right.
Everything isn't that. And then some people who like might be going through something that they just upset or they're uncomfortable, like I said, they might be like, I might need some medication myself, and it's like, hold on, these are two different things going on. So it says the term triggered refers to an experience of having emotional reaction to a disturbing topic in the media or a social setting. And it said feeling triggered isn't just something rubbing you the wrong way. For someone with a history of trauma, that's the key part for me. It's like, that's the only thing that makes it triggering, is it harkens back that trauma. It brings that trauma back up in that moment, just by somebody mentioning something or somebody saying something or you seeing something on social media, or like I said, you see people out. I made a song and I mentioned this moment when I was in Bethesda and I was walking down the sidewalk and I was homeless. You know what I mean? I ain't have no money. I ain't had no food. And these girls were these suburban, these rich girls were complaining about how Starbucks didn't have enough milk and didn't have this, and it just rubbed me the wrong way. It just triggered me because I'm like, what are you complaining about? Do you even know how good you got it? It's somebody right behind you right now that don't got no food, period. You know what I mean? So it was like, it triggered me. It could be something that's not as violent or even suicide. You know, it ain't gotta be that serious sometimes, and I can get triggered because I just come from poverty, or not poverty. I wouldn't say super poverty, but I come from such a low place that sometimes I can't see people happy. Sometimes it'll trigger me. What do you think about that?
Especially if I'm not happy at that moment. But yeah, what you were saying, I think because mental illness is spoken so, much now, more than it was in the past, that some people can even use it as an excuse,
Yeah.
to not do certain things. But I can't say you use it as an excuse. Do you better than anybody. And I think for so many years, it's such a stigma with it that people were afraid to say it. And now people are like, um, I got ADHD. I'm like, are you saying it out loud?
Right.
And someone actually said that to me one time. I said, well, thank you for sharing that with me, and let me know I need to do one thing. I was trying to tell them more than one thing. Thanks for letting me know that you have that and that I need to slow down and that you need to tell me, do one thing at a time. And it was a young person. So I was really surprised that they didn't even know
Open.
me, that they were able to identify that and was able to say, wait a minute, hold up. I got ADHD. I only can do one thing at a time. Let me do this, and then I'll do the next thing you asked me. So, yeah, but like you said, the triggers don't have to be. We did say something about trauma, but like you said, don't have to be something so serious all the time. It just can be. But it said more than rub you the wrong way. I don't know. I mean, when I say when something rub me the wrong way, to me that seems like the same
no,
thing.
it is. It said it's not just. So in all
Okay.
cases, it's not always that. You see what I'm saying?
But in
So
some cases, it can
in
be.
some cases, of course. And
Right.
after that, they bring up, for someone with a history of trauma, being around anything that reminds them of a traumatic experience can make them feel like it's happening all over again. So that's
Right.
saying you can be triggered and not even have super, deep trauma or any trauma for that matter. But for people who do have past trauma, things that remind them of certain things can make it all come back all over again. So
Right.
you can be triggered. It's not just being rubbed the wrong way. You being rubbed the wrong way is the beginning of you being triggered. But I believe there's levels to it. So let me read on. It says, let me share the screen again, because this is a juicy subject. Okay. Types of triggers. Triggers vary widely from person to person and can be internal or external. And that's kind of what we was just saying. Like, I saw these people and I heard them, and that was the external thing that kind of brought out but that's an internal thing I was dealing with. So I'm gonna just read on. For example, if you're exercising and your heart starts pounding, the sensation might remind you of a time where you're running from an abusive partner, or other common internal triggers include anger, anxiety, feeling overwhelmed, vulnerable, abandoned, or out of control, loneliness, muscle tension, memories tied to a traumatic event, pain, and sadness. So these are internal triggers. External triggers come from the person's environment. They can be a person. It can be a person, place, or thing, or a specific situation. I'm over here adding words because my mind. It can be a person, place, or a specific situation. What may be normal or an everyday situation or a minor inconvenience for some may be triggering to someone living with mental illness. For example, a person living with trauma may be triggered by a movie. See, for me, it's like I'll just say this right here. My wife, she likes all those SVU, Law and Order, those criminal crime, a lot of sex crime shows. And for me, it's very uncomfortable to watch that stuff. Like it's hard to watch and know somebody's being entertained by real pain. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's real hard for me to like switch it on and off. But meanwhile, on the other hand, I can watch other things and I'd be perfectly fine. You know, I can play Call of Duty, I can play a war game, but the reason is I haven't been through that trauma. That's not, you know, my experience. So,
Right. And some people can look at movies or television show as pure entertainment.
yeah,
They don't
like
even they don't even identify with nothing that's going on. It's just a form. And I'm like, everything I watch, it's like, don't let it be a reality show. Oh, that don't you
yeah.
see what how that could, and they look at me like, what are you talking? This is a TV show. But I'm
Right, I'm
like,
talking
it's
about the
talking about real
actors
life
and all of
stuff.
this. I'm like, how did this? I can't fathom how an actor sometimes can play a role so well, but they still aren't that person. That really confuses me sometimes because I'm like, this is your plan. Your how much like how do you go through trauma that isn't real but it's real, like it's believable on the outside looking in. And I was just I'd be
But it's
thinking
the
about
art of acting, the art of acting. And then some people actually do whatever it takes to, like, one of the actors um, was playing a crack addict. They actually didn't take a bath for 10 days. It was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what? They cut their hair, they gain weight, they lose weight, they do a
But
lot of
that
things
that is them
to come apart.
creating that
That person,
mental that
yeah,
trauma. They are putting themselves in that situation. Like if they have to be triggered in that if that character has to be triggered by certain things, they might surround themselves in an environment that will make them more inclined to be
right,
triggered and stuff like that. So
right.
for me though, you know, I'm just such a mental health dude. I'm worried about the mental health of this person going through this role. Like
Exactly.
how do you live?
Yeah.
Like how long were you shooting? Because it's a lot of it's traumatic just shooting a movie. But I ain't gonna go there. I'm just
But I think too, again, I think you and I talked
yeah
about it, or maybe me, or, your brother,
yeah.
that you have to know who you are
Mm-hmm.
and know what your triggers are. Like, you know what, this I can't do that. I'm not gonna be able to play that particular role, or I'm not gonna be
Right
able to, watch that particular movie, or I don't like blood and guts. I
right
haven't
right
had
right.
any trauma with blood and guts. I just don't like blood and guts movies.
Even
That's
the
just
Passion
not
of the Christ was hard for you.
exactly. So
Right.
it's not even about, you know, um, not always trauma, but it's just like, it's just not entertainment for me, and it's not. I don't get nothing out of it.
Yeah yeah.
If anything, it brings trauma
I was
to
gonna say
me.
sometimes
So
I watch stuff and I'm like I don't feel like sometimes when I watch it on a movie I'm like we just talking about movies right now. I was like this isn't I don't know if this is necessary for me to get what's going on right now in this film. This isn't necessary. But when you understand filmmaking, you know, certain things are in these movies and these shows and stuff for the people who do like that stuff, for the people who
right,
and that's what I am big on. I am big on I don't want I don't believe we should police the whole world because somebody is triggered by something. I think it is equally on the world to to be empathetic to people with mental health illness, but
right,
I also think it's
exactly,
on that person, like you said, to know what their triggers are and know where they can and can't go. I feel like the issue these days is everybody's trying to do everything, but everybody ain't meant to do everything. If you are
right,
triggered by this, you got to go. You can't call the police on me because me just walking down the street triggered you.
right,
And then where did you get that
right,
trauma from? That trauma came probably from a television, more than likely. So you got to know what you
right.
can watch and stuff like that. And to it's a deep thing. It can get real deep. But
Hmm.
and then people listen to music. I was thinking about this earlier on the last episode I did. I saw a list of rappers that passed away since like in the 1970s all the way back. And down the list it just said shot and killed, shot and killed, shot and kills. I was just like,
Mm.
and then none of them. The oldest one on the list was 44 years old, and he was the only one in the 40s.
Mm.
And I was like, wow, so many artists, and these were just notable people. This wasn't just all rappers, period. This was just a notable the list of, you know what I mean. The most Biggie and Tupac were on that list, so it's like that type of list. And I was like, wow. But then when you listen to what the music is about, most of the time, it kind of makes sense. I mean, if you if this is what people are listening to, it's like I don't know. I'm gonna just go down this list though. So a movie, a TV show, a news article that reminds them of an experience. Sometimes I tell her, stop telling me what's going on in the news because it's very grimy and it's dark.
Hmm.
Sometimes I don't want to always be in that mindset. a person connected to an experience, arguing with a friend, a spouse, or a partner. That happens with us sometimes. We trigger each other. A specific time of day. For me, I would add weather to this list because sometimes in the winter or around the months when my dad passed, I get real depressed without even knowing it. Certain sounds that remind them of an experience. So like, I know some kids, and I heard an artist, Chance the Rapper. He did a song and he said, "I hate crowded beaches and I hate the sounds of fireworks," and that is because he grew up in Chicago and it was gunshots all the time. So he don't even like being in large crowds of people. He gets anxiety being around large crowds of people, and he can't be around fireworks because it triggers him. It takes him right back to running for your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the fireworks is real because I let you and your brother have fireworks, but I never was around them. I didn't want to take that from y'all, but it was like a trigger for me because where out in the neighborhood I lived in, they were like firecrackers, not fireworks, firecrackers that throw them on you.
Oh yeah.
So, even though these were fireworks and sparkles and all that stuff, still the trigger was real because I just equated firecrackers with fireworks. Right. And then I was able, as years go on, as the more I work on myself, I'm able to go to places to, watch the fireworks from afar. I still have to have that distance there. And I remember even down here, we have fireworks, a family member. I mean, it's just like on the mall in DC. I mean, the beautiful fireworks. And we were so close, but because they had so much land, we were really far. But for me, it was just like they was right in my backyard. It was just too close. I kept backing up and backing up. It was just me and the 3-year-old, both of us like backing up. He cried, I cried. We looked at each other. He looked at me for comfort. I'm looking at him for comfort.
See, but that's
just backing up.
That's a deep thing too, though. Like the younger you get, certain things can be trauma, but if it's normalized at a young age, you don't really look at it like that.
Exactly.
It wasn't until I went to Southeast DC and I was there for 4th of July and people were shooting and we had to lay down on the floor, in the house because bullets ricochet all the time. People die every year. Kids die because of these bullets that bounce off of this and bounce off of that. And you'd be amazed how many actual firework accidents happen. So it's like certain things. I mean, I get triggered around holidays in general just because of family stuff. But I mean, it wasn't until I went through that I'm not a big firework person either anymore. I mean, I enjoy other people enjoying them, but for me, it don't really do nothing. I'd rather be far away from it, and then they're expensive and I get triggered by it,
It's like you paying money to burn up, they say, but they're beautiful. I learned to see that's what I saw. You just paying money to might just take the money and put that on fire.
Right.
But I learned to see the beauty in it, especially when I was living in the district. It was just, when we could see the fire. We could see the fires from downtown. Not even be downtown. It's they're beautiful, if you could. And we went to Six Flags and we actually saw fireworks one time, and that was beautiful. But we were from a distance, But when you was talking about the gunshots, I was thinking about when I was younger, how they had it was a lot of fires. It's always like, every time I turn, smoke detector going, we running outside, all the time. And there were a lot of Christmas trees burning. Christmas trees would get on fire because the lights were getting hot.
Wow.
And they changed. Yeah, they changed now since then. We had the aluminum Christmas trees, and the plastic Christmas trees. So, they get burnt even more. But as a kid, I didn't know what was going on. I'm just like, regular routine, get up in the middle of the night, go out in our pajamas because somebody them, then we found out later some people was doing stuff in the basement. But anyway.
Yeah.
The thing about that I was being reminded of was how it was a lot of house fires and children were getting burnt up, So I was always afraid of the lights on the Christmas tree, even though no one never told me about that was happening. I used to hear about it as I was growing up during the years. So I was always cautious whenever I had lights on fire. I would always make sure I unplug them at night. Just different things that I guess they didn't know back then to unplug them at night and stuff like that. And then the bulbs don't get as hot, the lights don't get as hot as they used to. Things change over the years. But
yeah, right. Because of these things.
At that time, it's like everybody had those type of trees,
I was
and
gonna say, with the lights, even as a kid, like I said, once I learned how electricity worked, and I was always told, you don't put water in the socket. I was always uncomfortable with plugging things up outside, especially when the ground is gonna get wet and all that stuff. I'm like, aren't we about to just burn up the whole house? But I didn't, I didn't know things were made weatherproof and all of this. I didn't think about it
yeah,
as far as that. It was always in my mind because if it happened, it would have been on my mind. I'd have been like, see, nope, we're done. I'm not. I'm good on this.
right.
But yeah. So they said certain sounds that remind people of the experiences, changes in relationships or ending a relationship could trigger someone. Significant dates such as holidays, anniversaries, going to a specific location that reminds them of an experience, and smells associated with the experience, such as smoke, like you just said.
Well, you said something else should be on there. What was that you said should be on there?
What did I say?
Weather, the
Weather,
weather.
yes.
Yeah, weather.
Weather can be because even in that same song that I told you about, he said, um, he said, he said, basically, he said, it just got warm out. This is what we've been warned about. I hope that it's storm in the morning, and I hope that it's pouring out. And then he said he hate the crowded beaches and he hate the sound of fireworks. But he said he goes on to say everybody dies in the summer, so you better say goodbye. Tell them while it's spring. So like in Chicago, it's like the murder rate in the summertime used to go up. So kids who weren't like street kids, they would get worried around the summer because their family who is involved, more than likely they might lose them. And it's
And
like
that's the time when you're supposed to be having fun, and you've been in the house
something
all
about that
in the
heat though,
winter.
that tensions are thin.
That makes it. It's like being cooped up in a house would make you be more. And I always heard that the violence go up when the weather breaking about that. I said, that's
I
the
mean, you
time
can
you're
be
supposed to.
outside longer. That's just, I feel like that's what the problem is. It's like in the wintertime, it's too cold to do anything. Ain't nobody leaving their warmth to go get into no trouble, or even robbery and theft and all that goes down in the winter because it's cold outside. Ain't nobody's, but even then, in some places it might go up in the winter because people look at that as a time to take advantage of people, but everybody's in their house. You less likely to do an armed robbery knowing if you know somebody's in the house. So like,
Right.
in the summertime, it's like you can be out all night and the weather is like just knowing that you can stay outside and not be freezing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like, and then heat is akin to anger, for me. Like,
Could you be irritated because it's so hot? Yeah.
it's like your patience is thinner.
Yeah.
You're more irritable. And then already, like I said, even
And
when
then
you get
everybody out there, and it's a lot more
everybody's on
people. Like when it's the
noisy.
winter time, yeah, it's no, yeah. But I always look forward to the spring. That's one of my favorite times of the year. And
Yeah.
but yeah, it can be
It can be triggering for some people.
triggering, yeah, for some people to know that, especially if you lost a loved one around the most, like the holidays, the most um best time of the year for some people. And then if you lost a loved one, they say it's the hardest time. It's the holidays because you got to think about that as well as
I'll say at my job,
try to enjoy.
we were operating a lot of power tools and stuff and construction machinery. And once Christmas and the holidays and all that was coming around, they had a meeting with us. They had a safety meeting with us and was like, around this time, it can be hard. It can be hard. It's like it's supposed to be a great time, but it's not like that for all of us. And they were saying, just keep your eye when you're driving, stay focused. Don't be worried about a text. Don't let certain text triggering things distract you because you can hurt yourself. And if you're at work and you're going through something with your family and your mind is not here, we don't want you to have an accident here. So just let us know what's going on and you can go home, because I could imagine how many times over the years stuff and accidents have happened. And then once they find out more about that person's life, they were going through some rough family stuff, and it was everybody's coming together. And he was like, you might be like, they was reading off a script, but he was like, you might be worried about what you're going to get this person, what you're going to get that person. You might be reflecting on the people you lost around this time. You might be, and they were just saying all of it. And I was like, wow.
Well, that's good
The
though that
fact that
they
they thought that
recognize
deep,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because some jobs be like, you just suck it up and come to work, and or don't come to work if you're going through something. They don't even care what you're going through.
Yeah, but usually those
So
jobs where you already putting your life in danger, they don't want you
yeah,
operating nothing because
make it worse. Yeah.
you could be, like I said, you'd be working on it with a tool or a saw or something, and you just zone out. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
then you look up and you done cut something all up, or it's a fire or something. You don't want to. You want
Yeah.
everybody's mental to be tip top shape, and that's the type of company I want to be too. I want people to feel like if they going through something, they don't have to. You know, I always said that, like, if somebody lost a loved one or something, just let me know, and I'm here for you as much as I can be here for you. The show will
Right.
go on, but you don't have to be a part of it. I wouldn't put that much pressure. I wouldn't ask for somebody else. Like, for me, talking and doing stuff and staying busy helps me, but it's not everybody's not like that.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So
Well, yeah, and it said something about mental illness and talking about the triggers and stuff like that. And was it saying recognizing that that person may have a mental illness, or the trauma that caused the mental illness would trigger? I mean, I can't remember what it
they're
said.
just in that beginning part, they were just identifying um the two forms of being triggered. So people who don't have any trauma can be triggered, but there's a difference between being triggered when you have past trauma and when you don't. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
That's
like
where
how
the
you said, you have
uncomfortability
no,
comes.
yeah, you have no experience with blood and guts, but you don't want to see it. You see what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's a trigger still. It's just a different trigger than if you actually seen blood and guts before in your face, and now you seen it.
Right.
It's hard. It's even. You can imagine how that could be
Yeah. Yeah.
worse. Not saying one is
Mm.
better. Worse than that. But,
Yeah. But even being in the house doing this, these past couple of years,
oh yeah.
a lot of people being triggered, they're not used to being in the house, especially people that like to
And
go
then when you're
out.
unaware of your triggers, you don't. And then you could be unaware that you have triggers and
Exactly.
live a life, but never running into them. And then, like, a situation like this might make you run into some triggers that you didn't know was there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mm.
Or did you ignore? Because I heard
Because you was busy, you was kept busy.
life coach was saying that the COVID didn't cause
A lot
I
of
don't know exact
depression
words
and
she
stuff.
said. Yeah, but it was almost like had you look at yourself anyway. Like, in other words, whatever I was going through
You couldn't
before
run
COVID,
anymore. You
it
didn't know you
enhanced
was
it.
running.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It enhanced it. Whatever the problem issue was already there, and it just made it come manifest. So it kind of helped a lot of people get in touch with what was really going on. And nothing wrong being busy, because I like being busy, but how much of that busyness was running, and how much
Oh
of that
yeah.
busyness was I, taking time out for myself. So when COVID did hit, I was able to enjoy it and say, whew, finally could get a chance to relax, take a break, work from home,
And
spend more time with my children,
this
whatever.
this is like, I would say, when this started, right? I was going through some stuff. I don't know if you remember that, but I was going through that breakup. I was I was used to paying rent with another person, and then they just up and left. Like I said, right before it broke out, like within days and a week or so before they announced that we had to go on lockdown. And I was trying to figure out how I was going to manage this financial load by myself. And you know, uh, then they came out and said, landlords can't evict you if you know what I mean, because you can't leave the house, you can't go to work, you can't make money, so they can't evict anybody from this time to whatever time they said. And I felt a great relief, and I was like looking them on the internet, everybody. I'm like, everybody freaking out right now, but y'all all in my boat. Everybody in my boat. I was in this boat by myself for a long time, like being homeless and not having no option of employment. Certain things, like certain places I was living, they just wouldn't hire me, and I didn't have a job. I didn't have a car at the time, so I can't just go to work somewhere else where they are offering work. It was just I was living good. I was actually happy. I wasn't happy that the pandemic was happening. I wasn't happy that people were dying or from a sickness or nothing. But
Right.
it was like an opportunity for other people to see how I have been living for a long time. And a lot of people, they were always, like I said, they were always going to work, or they was always at a party, or it was always surrounded by friends and always surrounded by people. They always had a reason to not confront reality. And I always been forced, you see what I'm saying, by my circumstances to confront reality. So it was very comforting to know everybody's going through it too, now, because it's like, okay, now they can see. It just made it easier for me to talk to people. I'm talking to somebody and now they understanding me now because they are going through it too. And I'm like, oh yeah, I've been seeing this. It's like it always seemed like that. I could see like the patterns that people get into, especially in a wealthy neighborhood. You watch everybody leave that neighborhood at the same time. You watch everybody come home at the same time. You watch the kids play outside for a moment at the same time. Everybody's walking and la at the same time. Everybody goes in the house at the same time. But then you watch it just over and over and over. I'm like, how many of these people are really doing anything? Like, and you don't want to judge. But then when this happened, you started seeing some nasty people. Some of these people nasty. Like they need to go back to work. You know what I mean? They like I didn't want them outside. Like I was outside walking in peace when they at work, and now they home.
I know, right?
Like that.
Like people say they ain't been taking baths and stuff. Like what? How can you not take a bath? Oh
yeah, but you forget how much humans are. Like we're much like computers a little bit. And we run on processes and we run on programs. So when the program is broken or our hard drive is damaged, we start glitching out. People start freaking out. And it takes awareness and it takes time and practice. And that's why I always, like I said, some of the stuff that people might tell me is trauma actually helps me with my trauma, because I've had the time and the opportunity, I would say, to fight with this thing and get to a point where I can manage it. You know what I mean? People with this COVID thing, it's on the spot. They ain't had no time or nothing. You just had to be with your family instantly, and you can't go nowhere else. There's nowhere else to go. Like, so it's like with me, I was in, therapy. I was in certain facilities. I was in, it was a great eye opener to something I already seen, but I wasn't. It just sometimes you can start to feel like it is you. Like I am. Maybe I am a hater. Maybe maybe I am just an angry person or something. I'm not really angry. I'm just, when people say certain things, I get triggered. So I just respond. I'm not gonna lie to you about what I think about what you're saying. Like, I do offend, my wife sometimes with the fact that I can't sit through an episode of some of this stuff without bringing up, like, see, this is dark. Like, this is very, like, how can you just, like, and then for me, sometimes watching somebody who went through something, watch it or listen to it, it's hard for me to be, when I'm listening to rap and I hear the sirens, it triggers me. I hear the gunshots, it triggers me. I'm like, okay, I need to turn this stuff off. I feel like I'm gonna bring it to me. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it triggers me to watch somebody just take that in, knowing that they really was in a shootout, knowing that they really went through. I'm like, how can you submerge yourself in that life? Like, and I know it's not for me to judge, but it does drive me a little. It makes me uncomfortable because I feel like if they're comfortable with it, that thing could be closer to us than I knew, than I know, and I need to get out.
And just some people just know how to compartmentalize stuff. Some people don't take everything. Like, we're a lot alike as far as we emotional, and we kind of like take things for face value, what it is. And it's not always that deep. It's like, okay, this is this TV show, reading into it and trying to see how I can apply it to my life and how much similarity. And it's like, it's just a TV show. So I purposely watch shows
with shows that it came from real life, though.
Exactly. But I purposely watch shows that are funny, don't have nothing to do, because I know I'm a serious type person by nature. So because I'm a serious type person by nature, I have to make sure I watch things that are not at that serious. I prefer to watch serious stuff. But when they're not that serious, kind of help me to
break the ice.
Yeah, look at things from a lighter perspective, and not all, and just give me a chance to laugh, And I'm like, oh, it was so corny, but I'm glad I watched it, because I'll start watching reruns and stuff because I'll get so cool. That's so corny. Or I look at the acting back then, wasn't all that great. Just all these different things. That's me being judgmental. But it's like I make myself do that to get out of that. That everything got to have a message in it. Got to be a purpose. And I'm not spending my time watching this movie for 2 hours. I want to know what the end. It has to have a good ending and it has to have a purpose and
A
all
moral
these
to the
different
story.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has to
And
help.
it's like some of it is just corny and it's just not even meant to be, nothing but funny, So
Yeah. See, but
it's just a
I was gonna
balance.
say this too. I used to envy people who could you remember Thomas and all my friends that like I remember I told them some of the stuff I was going through and they literally looked me in my eye and said, I've never known, I don't know I would ask them like for help and advice, what should I do? And they like, I don't know what to tell you what to do because I don't know any other kid that goes through what you go through right now. So they couldn't relate. They didn't even know what to say to me sometimes. So I would go over their house and they just playing video games, watching TV and just laughing up. And I just envied how much they could enjoy life without thinking about none of the stuff I had to think about every time. I'm watching the same thing, but it's driving me crazy. So I used to look up to people in that sense. Like ignorance is bliss. They say that, and it's a little bit of healthiness to that because it's like in order for you to get past certain things, you have to be able to get past it. You can't feed into it too much. You know what I mean? Because and the thing about trauma is sometimes when I let that guard down, when I stopped feeding into it, that's when it came at me and I was like, oh, I could have been ready for this.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like we always on this guard, you know what I mean? We always ready to I gotta see it this way because if it comes out and they say the movie did this, then I need to know. I was there. I was already on that and I'm protecting myself. But
right, exactly.
And that's the
It's
thing.
like being
Yeah.
in the moment, and then if I feel like I have to put on for me, I have to put on
Put
my
on your
armor every
armor.
day.
Yeah.
Every day, and even when I'm around people that I'm comfortable with, if I don't put my armor on, then I know I'm gonna hurt their feelings or they're gonna hurt my feelings because I know my personality.
Oh yeah.
So even if I don't put my armor on that day or I put my armor on that day and I still get triggered, which happened recently, it's like I have to look at my part. What did I do? Not to blame myself or beat myself up. What did I do that caused me to be in that position to be triggered? Not that it's my fault that I was triggered. Not that what they said didn't trigger. Not that to beat myself up in a way. For me, a lot of times it's not doing what spirit has guided me to do.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I'm doing my own will or thinking it's okay. Well, I can let my guards down with this person just one time, and I'm healthy enough to be around this person, because
It's always a mind thing. I feel like when you follow your heart and your gut and your intuition,
exactly,
you're fine. But once you start thinking too much, you get caught up. You can go too far. It's two extremes with it. And what you were saying about it's not that it's your fault, but what was your part? I think it just boils down to the fact that mental health is daily work. And it's daily work for the person that identifies and acknowledges their mental health state.
Right.
It's not for us to police the world and make sure everybody else is aware of our stuff. You know what I mean? Because it's easy to tell somebody, don't say this, don't do that. But it's harder for yourself to either separate from that person or know when, I mean, informing people about your mental health state can be helpful, but I find it just brings more trauma. It don't really help.
Especially if they're not dealing with their own. And then we have to talk about mental health and mental illness and like what is the difference? Because a lot of times you say mental health, person they say, oh, she got a mental illness. Okay, and if I do, and what? My thing is I don't have a problem with people that have mental health, mental illness. I do have a problem with people that may have it and not treating it.
What do you mean?
If you know you have a mental health, I don't want to say problem. I don't want to call it a problem.
I was gonna say
if you know you have mental health issues,
it triggers you basically.
If you know you have mental health issues and you're not treating it, This is like if you have an alcoholic problem, you're not treating, like, going to AA, or and you're aware of it. Not saying if you, drink or have a mental illness or addiction and unaware of it. I'm talking about people that know that it can be, that it's causing them problems.
Right.
I don't like using the word problems, but
Just,
if you
I
know
would say that's why I said be aware of their mental state.
Exactly. If you're aware of your mental state and know that there's possibility you might need assistance or more help or extra or whatever, therapy, whatever, and you choosing not to do it, then I will have a problem with you when you flicking off on me. But if you have mental illness and you're doing everything you can to treat it or get help, and then you have a moment, I'm gonna give you your moment.
But what about when you weren't aware about your mental stuff? That people that I don't see when I wasn't aware. I don't remember people beating me or having an issue with me. Most people gave me my moment all the time because they noticed it before I did most of the time.
Yeah.
So it's a thing where it's like, and that's why I asked you what you mean have a problem with. And I think you were saying that it's hard for you. It makes your mental health work even harder when you're around somebody because you are trying to better yourself.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, their issues are affecting you, and they don't even acknowledge the fact that they got issues. So it's even hard.
Exactly.
It's not like y'all can
That's
talk
the
about
issue.
this. It's not like y'all can talk it out because they are in denial at this point. They're not even either they in denial or they just, like you said, unaware. And I don't think it's anybody's individual place except for like a doctor or a therapist, somebody licensed.
Right.
I don't think it's anybody's.
No, I'm saying if you're aware of it, say because you know that you're aware of it. I'm talking about people that are aware of it.
Yeah. But yeah,
it's
so
like,
if you are aware of it, I mean, well,
and you choose, and you know there's help available, and you just choose not to get the help, then it's like, well, you're not going to use me. I'm not a therapist. You're not going to use me.
Well, you know what to do though. You know what to do with those people. It's just you got to limit your time around them so that way you can. That's the thing about knowing your triggers. You got to know your triggers, like because if you know, that will cut down the list of people. And I don't even think you don't have to ever hang out with certain people anymore. But just have a time limit to it or a limit to it. Like I used to hang out with certain people, and I knew what their lifestyle was. But as soon as they started getting onto that lifestyle, I would be like, I'm going home.
Exactly.
And
be brief and be gone.
I would feel this immense just relaxation because my anxiety starts to rise when people like, yo, we about to go to the store real quick and we're gonna be right back. And I know that this ain't about to be that simple of a trip. I am Cuba Gooding Jr. in Boys in the Hood. Let me out. I'm that all the time. People hate it. Like people hate it.
But
like,
at least you're aware of it. At least you're aware of it, and you know that
you're and freak
out having the anxiety, and you just doing it anyway.
I can't.
That's the thing.
I done did it before, and it was so much worse than it needed to be.
Exactly.
I finally got home, I'm in my house like, and I'm like, I could have just told them I didn't want to be here. And what they gonna do?
Exactly.
They're not gonna trap me. And if they do, then that's really I could call the police. This is a real thing then at that point. But for me to know my triggers, I had to play with fire a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. I went around these people and I was trying to be cool. And it's like sometimes in the beginning too about noticing your mental health and stuff. You don't want like this idea of being normal. You don't want to have a mental health illness.
Exactly. You want to be like everybody else. If they just get up, why they can just get up and walk out the door? Right. I got to pray. I got to read. I got to do all this.
It's work. And you don't
exercise and all it. But I'm not like other people. And I accept that. I accept that I'm not like other people. I'm glad I'm not like other people. It takes a while. And it's like, if you can get up and walk out the door as soon as your eyes open, your feet hit the ground, see you when I get there. But I have a whole lot of stuff that I need to do for me to be prepared for the world.
And people will call
you. And I'm willing to do it now.
Look, the funny thing is, people will call you crazy while you're doing all of that.
Exactly. So it's like sometimes, I don't care.
Yeah, and it's like I gotta do what I gotta do. They didn't try to call me OCD, all sorts of things. Is it OCD if I know that things like me not packing, like I never used to leave the house without a bag with at least my essentials in it. I need to have a journal with a pen and a pencil, not just a pen, not just a pencil, a pen and a pencil. Because sometimes the pen don't work, you need a pencil. Sometimes the pencil run out of lead or it don't work, and you ain't got a sharpener or something, and you can use the pen. And also, some things you want to write that you want to be permanent, and then some things you want to write that you want to erase. You might want to erase it. need that. I need water. I need maybe a jacket or a chain, not a whole outfit, but sometimes I take a jacket or a hoodie, just something that I can put on. I found out that hoodies, and especially in high school, used to comfort me. Sometimes I used to be in environments or around kids, and I just didn't want to. I felt way safer and way more grounded and powerful when I had a hoodie on. So that it's just I needed to know that I had my own back if we got stranded somewhere, or if somebody and then it's been times, especially even on that movie set, people was like, how we gonna make him cry in this scene? How we gonna make him cry in this scene? We losing light. We need this scene. We need this scene. And I was like, hold on. Pulled the Vicks out my book bag. They like, you got Vicks in your, what's up with you? You got Vicks in your, it's like, yeah, put it right under their eyes. I bet they start tearing up. And it was just perfect time. And it was like me doing that movie, it really showed me that there is jobs, there is a world for people like me. Because it was like I could go through what I go through, and I could channel it in my creativity, and it's a safe space to where I can be employed and I can still be useful to people. It's like any other place, they looking at the Vicks in my book bag like, what is wrong with him? Like, what type of weird dude keeps Vaseline and Vicks and Skin So Soft in his book bag? You know what I mean? But for me, I needed it. I might go to the bathroom, and I just might wash my face, put some more Vaseline on it. I just gotta, there's certain things I have to do for my mental health, and it's like little things. I never denied myself the little things in life. And it's like, when you go somewhere, it's like, I used to be in situations where somebody's buying you food. I'm not just going to eat anything just because it's free. They giving you pork. You don't want pork. Just eat the pork because you're around these people and you can't tell them no. Like, I shut that inner voice off instantly. I will be the oddball out, the weird guy, the guy that everybody look at, who he think he is, asking for chicken when there's pork on the, either that or I'm not eating. It's okay. I know how to just stay grounded in my space and how far I'm willing to go. It's like we live in a world where everybody is trying to fit in and they willing to sell themselves out.
Right.
Then you end up losing yourself.
Right. And like you said, saying no, that's the thing. It's like being able to say no, to people that they mean well. They don't mean, and they get offended.
People get offended, yes.
I'm sorry you get offended. They got offended. Jesus did a lot of stuff. People got offended, and I'm like,
about my father's business is what he said.
Yeah, I'm on a mission. I'm focused. There's certain things that I don't have time to do. I can't waste my time, because you don't understand who I am. I know who I am. At least I'm learning who I am. And I know what I need to do to take care of me. Like you were saying, everything you were saying was like having your safety net. You had your emergency backpack, your first aid kit. And the first time something break out, but you would be the one that would say, I know, Ron. Okay, Rondo got it for Rondo, but you ain't looking out for you. But you want my safety net. You want to go. You'll tease me about having it because they just call me the bag
until you need it.
You want to tease exactly for having my bags, but when you need something, you
got something in that bag that'll help your situation.
But I learned.
I got that from you.
I'm the opposite though. I learned how to travel light. I still have my little first aid, but I was doing way too much. It was like, I was just doing way too much. So now I try to travel.
You can trigger yourself that way by preparing for the worst every time you do something.
Exactly. It's like, but I think it's good to, like you said, know yourself, know what you need, have your little first aid kit, your safety net, because I think about the versions in the Bible where they talk about, well, we're not supposed to talk about religion, but where they talk about, the oil, having the oil, and some people ain't had that oil, So then when the bridegroom came, they got left. And they're like, well, can I have some? No, I only got enough for me. And it's not about being selfish. It's being able to know what I need.
Acknowledging your mental health state. It's like, and Charles said it on this podcast too himself. He said, for me, he looked at me like I had a tank in me. And once it gets full, it needs to be empty. And sometimes I know how much is left in that tank and I don't have the capacity to give it to you, because if I do
Yep.
that, I'm going to overflow. I know that.
Yep.
So for me to get out of here while I can, it's like, to explain that to somebody, they be like, it's not that, what are you talking about? We just had McDonald's.
Not that difficult.
It's
Right.
not that serious. Like, can you calm down? And it's like, that's why I don't even try to explain my mental health thing to nobody, because I just rather work it.
Yep.
And instead of trying to, rationalize it to somebody else, because when it get to a point that they see in their own stuff like that, they'll do the same thing. Like I said, this pandemic helped a lot of people see.
People that might even want to look at it or probably would have never looked at it before. And what I liked about was that it shut the whole country down. It wasn't just individual. It was we were all on an equal, plane, equal level. Put everybody equal.
I got opportunities that I would have never got. I would have never have gotten if I didn't. You see what I'm saying? If it wasn't that situation, because it was certain people that they had in positions that they didn't need to be in that position. They realized that I was better in that position because that person is unraveling right now. And it's not like, for me, it's a win-win to me, because that person is now getting to, like I said, they're getting to identify what their mental state is and work on it. And I'm getting a job opportunity because I did the work. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's like, I don't ever expect anybody to be at the level I'm at mentally. And I don't ever expect anybody to, I hate when people think I'm perfect or like, I got it all together. Like, people tell me that all the time. You look like you got it all together. You look like, looking like it is one thing. You know how much work it takes for me to look like I got it all together?
It's the feel, how you, it didn't, I mean, it feel like you got it all together, but it's not even really about feeling.
It's an internal, it's like the glow. When they say she got a glow in them, it's like when you are, like you said, when you on that mission and you getting closer and you actually doing something, it's going to radiate off of you. And nobody not supposed to talk about religion, but I'll just do it like this. Light, seeks darkness. I mean, darkness seeks light, and heat, the cold seeks the heat, and heat seeks the cold. Like, the way that wherever the heat is, the cold is there trying to be cold. The heat is there trying to be hot. So with me, sometimes I'm just starting to work on something. Then all these people come around me, and it's like, whoa, I gotta really put the brakes on it, because I'm like, I ain't got it yet. Yeah, I need to slow down.
Exactly. And if I give it away, then I'll lose it.
I tricked myself a lot of times just thinking I had it, and this is why I got it. Oh, I got it to give it to somebody. This is why I have it. And it's like, I need to just stay down. And one day I look up, and that's another thing. I didn't want to not have friends. I didn't want to have to be alone sometimes when I knew I had to take alone time. I didn't want to take alone time. I wanted to, like I said, I looked at everybody else. It was like, they got all these friends. They go to parties every night and they just fine. They sleeping. They got a job. They got money. They happy. But that is the outside looking in. The grass is greener. I don't know what's going on inside that person's life. Me and Brandon talked about dudes who used to date a lot of girls in high school, and we used to call them players all the time. You player. And we got older and we realized some of them dudes wanted a monogamous relationship, but everybody kept calling them a player. So women would never even take them serious.
Yeah.
So they just, they felt like that was their only option. I was like, dang.
It's like other people identify who I am instead of me identifying who I am.
And you gotta own your identity. And you gotta,
even if it means you're gonna be an L7, that's what they used to call me.
Yeah.
But I was okay with it.
Don't enforce it. It's not on us to enforce it, because I used to do that too. I used to tell people, I'm a this, what? Like, I used to try to force it down your throat. Like, you're gonna accept me, and it's like, you can't do that either. That's the opposite of what we're trying to achieve right here. The acceptance comes later, and it's not, like I said, you end up doing it for other people's acceptance, and you just can't.
Right. It's like being myself, regardless of whether people accept it or not, and first accepting myself, you know, with all my flaws, and being okay with me wherever I'm at. Today is a good day. Today not a good day. Whatever, however it come, wherever it is.
Yeah.
And then accepting other people for who they are too, and not expecting them to be where I'm at. Because sometimes I do that too. It's like, I think that they're supposed to know, why they not take care of their mental health. We talk about mental health all during the pandemic. Why they still tripping? And the bottom line is, it's not for me to judge anyone.
Oh, yeah.
as to whether they choose to take a bath. It's on them. Just don't come around me,
And then that's the thing
because
too. It's like,
I
no, go
have a
ahead.
sensitive nose. I have a sensitive nose,
Look,
so it's
it'll
like you
trigger
ain't gotta
you.
take you ain't gotta take no bath, but just don't come around me. I'm just using that as an example. I'm just
I'm being
saying,
funny too.
you don't have to take care of certain things or do certain things for me. But if what you're doing is affecting me, or if I'm being triggered by something that you're doing, then we have to have a conversation on
See,
how
that's
we can coexist.
I'm gonna try to segue off of this and end it kind of here. But with this LGBTQ thing, that's kind of where what I feel like a lot of the confusion is, and everybody is at this point intimidated and scared to talk about it. But for me, it was always I never had an issue with anybody else's preferences for their individual life. The problem comes when you try to tell me what I need to do, what I like you telling me I need to change my lifestyle because you chose to change yours. So if
Right.
if I look at you and I see you are a man, but you tell me you identify as a woman, I understand that I could offend you if I call you a man. But for me, you have to also understand my side, which is you
Right.
are a man to me. You see what I'm saying? To
Right.
you, you're a woman, but to me, you're a man. So
Right.
it's not that I'm trying to offend you. It's not that I'm taking your rights. It's not that I'm, and people take things so, and I feel like, and they're going to kill me for this, but I think that a lot of this stuff with this community is results of trauma and mental health illness, just unresolved stuff. Like,
Yeah.
because the fact that you rather, like I said, change the world instead of changing you is,
Hmm.
for me, it's like that's why we at odds right now. It would be a smooth thing if everybody, it was really to each his own, but it's really not, because it's to each his own until you see somebody doing what they want to do and you don't like it. Then you want to tell them that they have to, you want to make amendments so that people include you in their reality. When I just don't think that's fair. And I think that, like I said, it's like if you went through something, like if once you get to a certain point with your mental health walk, whatever you want to call it, work, you learn to accept other people too. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Learn to let people, to each his own. Like I said, live and let live. Because if you get too caught up in somebody else, that's when you off your stuff. That's when you're not doing what you need to do.
Exactly. And that's the key too, I think, to the whole thing is if I take care of myself and you take care of yourself and they take
Mm-hmm.
care of themselves, then that's how you change the world. When I'm trying to change you,
So, yeah, exactly.
or you trying to change me, I think that's where the confusion comes. It's really
And
not. We say
some
we
doctors would say
accept,
that's a diagnosis of a mental health illness,
right?
trying
But do
to
we really
control
accept
other
each other?
people and stuff like that.
Right. Exactly. That in and of itself could be a problem. So
Yeah,
I just, stay in my corner, stay in my lane, stay in my little hula hoop, my side, my little
yeah.
sandbox. Not
The
being,
bubble,
antisocial, not being, isolated,
just
but
knowing your
just,
limits.
taking care of me and praying like God bless me, change me, bless them. That's what I say. Change me, bless them. And like you said, through my change, and hopefully they will see,
Let
and
God's
maybe
will
they,
be done. If you ask
yeah,
me, I feel
exactly.
like I
And
feel
now I
like
learn from other people too. It's not, I don't got it all together either. I'm not even trying to sound like I got it all together. I
yeah.
learn from other people too. I'm like, can I hold on your faith? Because my faith is a little weak right now.
We just
You
read an
know,
article to help guide us on what this thing is, what's going on.
exactly.
It wasn't like we over
And I
here.
thought I knew what triggering
Yeah,
was. you
exactly.
know,
It gets
so
deep,
yeah,
but
yeah, and it's
I
a lot
don't.
more. I liked it. It had an external, internal
I will
parts
send you
too.
that link too. I was gonna say that. I was gonna send
Yeah.
you that link when we finish. But I don't mind it if unless you are uncomfortable with it. But if we ended on a prayer, that would be fine with me. Unless
Oh, that's great. You gonna pray?
I would rather not this time. I
Since you
can.
brought it up, I mean, I can. I
I
mean,
like
when you
I like
said
how you pray,
want
so
to
I
end it.
just want to hear
Oh,
it.
well, first I want to thank you for having me. This has been really fruitful. It's
Yeah,
been
yeah,
different, been fun. Very good topic.
yeah.
Hopefully we'll be able to do it again
I
soon.
appreciate you for the topic, and I appreciate you for being here and making the time and getting doing something new, something different that you don't
Yeah,
do. And
Exactly.
I hope it wasn't triggering.
Exactly. It's always good for me to stretch and do something out of my comfort zone.
Right.
And I feel like we have a relationship where if I am triggered that I can talk to you about it.
Yeah.
But this has been really good. I have not been triggered, although sometimes my triggers come later.
That's what I was gonna say,
like
but that's
backlash.
what I was saying.
But
If you
it's all
rewatch
good.
this, you might be like, "Oh, I don't know if I wanted that." and look, and that's okay because that is, like I said, I would rather it be that way than you never say anything. And every time you watch this thing, and every time or you start avoiding me or the podcast because you don't want to be triggered, it's like I'd rather it be, like you said, you're aware of your triggers and you communicate that. We can coexist. You know,
Exactly. Yeah. And agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree and respect each other's boundaries.
Exactly.
You know.
So if we could close our eyes and bow our head, we thank you, God, for this opportunity. We thank you for this moment. Thank you for this relationship. Mm-hmm. We ask that you will continue to help us individually and help us collectively. I pray that everybody that may hear this podcast will gain something from it. Help us to remember what our purpose is for you and what it is you have us to do to help ourselves and help others. Continue to help us to stay focused and centered on your will. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Wow.
This is good.
So meditative. I love praying.
This is so good. I like this.
Yeah. I appreciate you, Ma. Well, I'm gonna end it, and then we can stay on the phone if you want to a little bit after. But for me, once I finish, sometimes I'm beat.
Yeah, I'm done.
I'm done too.
Pretty done. Yeah.
But
yeah, we can reconnect again. Like I said, we can watch. I can watch it and we decide what we're gonna do or whatever.
And I'll send you this link to this article too if you wanted to read it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you too.